So you were talking about your hero. You've mentioned like a hero's journey in there. When did what was growing up for you like? What the fuck was that like?
Growing up?
Yeah. What was pre-hero's journey Tommy look like?
Fuck. I grew up in this neighborhood on the hill, and then I would say like this is probably for most people what the situation is. Like in order to get into developing yourself, you have to hit like that despair pit, and then you have to go, oh, I'm a little boy, I gotta become strong to counteract this, right? And so how I got into my little despair pit was, it wasn't any like massively like traumatizing thing. Like I'm sure you've talked to a lot of people where it's like you hear their story and you're like, holy fuck, I'm a bitch. Like the shit they've been through, you're just like, wow, I can't. Mine was just like little like pinpricks over like a million over time, just like constant, Like a lot of my family was pretty big into like, this isn't to like trash talk anyone, but it just like they were so big into like, don't go do that, it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly.
Please
what you mean.
be careful. And it's like, well, it's like you gotta like. Do you know what like the Oedipal mother is?
The Oedipal. Yeah, absolutely.
They smother you to death,
right.
And it's like, well, it's like your kid has to go out into the fucking world and experience the world, And so that was like what my family was like, and then my friends in grade school were just like that was like a big core of like, my communication, with people, and a lot of my relationships with a lot of those people just weren't that great.
Would you say that like because of that mindset that your family put on you? Because I feel very, very similar to you. That it instilled like an unhealthy fear of the world in you. Like were you afraid to go out and do shit because of that?
Well, yeah. Oh yeah, of course. That's why that's why I had to start traveling the way I did.
That's right. So because you went on these crazy ass fucking trips.
I had to. It was every time I go to do anything, I have to push past that fucking voice they put in my head, right? That I keep in my head, right? And it's no matter what, it just doesn't go away. It never fucking goes away, dude. It always stays. And it's just like before you do anything that you're supposed to do that's even remotely challenging, it's like, wait. That's why, do you ever think about like raising kids? Mm-hmm. You're like, man, I don't want them to have that voice. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to have that voice fucking at all, dude. Like it's horrible. And like I went so much time, like even like when I started my business where it's like I would always have to call someone before I did something.
How so?
To make sure I didn't fuck it up. You know what I mean? Like I'd call my dad usually, right? And so I'd be like, hey, like, like what do you think I do with this? You know what I mean? And then when I started to become a man was when I started to go, no, damn it. I'm going to take it to the point of failure, then call someone once I've failed, and then ask, right? And then I found out, I was like, that's how I learned I could pick up dressers. Because I used to call people to come help me move furniture all the time. And then that was like the first year. And then eventually I was like, you know what, dude? Like, fucking quit. Because like people were I could feel them getting irritated. You know what I mean? Because like I didn't have the fucking money to pay them. It was like they were helping me. You know what I mean? And like I would help in other ways, like in their lives and whatever. It was like the Hill is very much like a brotherhood environment, right? So it's like I help you, you help me.
Yep.
I just felt like I was calling too much. Whether or not that was real, my mind thought it, right? And so I was just like, eventually I was like, dude, you got to be a fucking man and just go fucking do this on your own, dude. And then I started to do stuff, and I was like, man, I'm capable of way more than I thought, And then like I went and like the Goggins thing is kind of like go and do stuff so you have proof, right? So you
to
have
yourself.
Yeah.
To yourself.
So you had the despair thing, right? And so then what you have to start to do once you get through that, and like my despair thing was like my childhood, and then like relationship not going well, and then I got out of that relationship, and I was like, oh shit, that was my fault. Like I didn't, like a lot of people get out of a relationship, they'll be like, fuck them.
Yep.
There's a little bit of that, but like I mainly was like, wow, can I not be better? Because if not, then if you go fuck them, then they're your master. Like I'm way too competitive for that shit. It's just not my deal. And I was like, okay, how can I be better so that I don't do this to someone else, right? And then, so then you fight through all that, you get better, start doing all the furniture and stuff and whatever, and all these things were happening to me. And then eventually you get to a point where you're like, I'm gonna go make something fucking happen that's horrible, that I could use as fuel later, you know? Like there's something about choosing the struggle and fucking going like, I'm going to go fucking annihilate myself out in the fucking woods. And then like now, like whenever I do anything, it's like, I went for context, I did like a 37-mile hike.
Is this your first adventure-esque thing, would you say? Like, is this the first time you really pushed your limits in that regard?
No.
Okay.
This was the first physical one. The first ever time where I really pushed out of me being like a little boy was where I chose something was when I went on my first trip. And like, even the first day, my dad was like, I love my dad, by the way. He's a great fucking guy. I still, like, he has the key to my shop, love him to death, like, great person. And so that day I was leaving to go, I was going to go down to like Arkansas. It was like 4 p.m. And he's like, don't leave now, wait until the morning. And I was like, no, fuck that. I just who cares? Just go.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, then something happens, then I can't go. You know, and I drove through a fucking rainstorm, and I ended up in Little Rock, sleeping in this ghetto ass Walmart parking lot. You know, like literally just like cars driving by with spinners, like just bumping. Like it was super ghetto. And then like I couldn't sleep, dude. It was pouring rain, dude. It was like a rock concert, and I was like, I woke up and I was like, oh, and like back then I was like big meditator person, and I'm trying to like meditate. I can't do it. Like my whole framework is unraveling. You know what I'm saying? Like I did all this stupid shit I used to do. Not to like say meditating's bad. I'm actually thinking about starting it again, but there's timing, right?
Yep.
And then I went on that whole trip, and that was a 30-day trip, and I went down to New Orleans, all the way to Florida, and then all the way up to Maine to Acadia, over to Niagara Falls and back. And it was a 30-day trip.
Holy shit.
Insane. Like still, like it's like the one I romanticize the most out of all the ones I've been on, because it was just like, dude, when you're gone for 30 days straight, like you become a new person.
Fuck. And did you chart that out, or did you just go, fuck it, I'll go here and then I'll go here?
I went, so I just knew Acadia for sure. And I knew I wanted to get the fuck out of here for sure. and then I had a buddy that they were going to New Orleans, and I was like, okay, I'll go down, I'll meet you guys down there. So that was New Orleans. And then like, other than that, I just knew I wanted to go to Acadia. And then I just kind of started going where I wanted to go, you know, and I'd never seen a beach before in my life. Like I'd never traveled my entire life.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow,
like
wow.
my dad never had the time. Like he was always running his concrete company. And,
How old were you at the time?
man, that was 4 years ago. So I'm 32 now.
26?
Yeah,
No, wait, that's 28.
27, 28.
Yeah,
might have been 5. But yeah, and then like that was like, man, it was tumultuous. Like I found out there were so many times where like I found out that I was just like a little boy, you know, but
Tell me about those. Like, this is so fucking interesting to me.
well, I had to figure it out. Because like here in St. Louis, dude, I've been here my whole life. Like I can have especially once I started getting into business, like nowadays, dude, I can have anything done here that I want.
Yep.
Anything. If I need anything done, it's like that, right? And there's something about like I leave, and then I have no connections, and then it's like, are you if you're as powerful as you say you are, you should be able to go into the abyss and come back, right? Every time, you know. It's like you like, and then like I've had to find so many mechanics and all kinds of shit, but I go and I went through all these experiences. I got food poisoning and fucking just like I went like and dude, it was such a, that moment was so shitty. Like I ended up in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay.
I think, which is like, I think it's where J. Cole's from.
Fayetteville.
Yeah. It was super just not what I was looking for, to be honest. And I was there, and I got on the phone with my dad, and I was like, I went back to that little boy kind of mode. I was like, I just want to come home, dude. And I was like, this sucks, you know, like I hate this place, whatever. And then we talked, and this is why like I love my dad. It's like he was like, no, like you got to keep going, be a man, you know. And then he
Oh, that's so interesting.
his framework, like that's
what about him? Yeah. Well, why did he change?
It's just, dude, I've noticed like for me going in the direction that I'm going now, like my dad's changed a lot, you know. That's why like people aren't stagnant. You know what I'm saying? Like and it's just like given the moment, like I was there and he knew how to follow me perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Where I was like, he's always been like that, where it's like, don't be a little bitch ever. You know what I mean? Like because he's my dad, but he's been my boss for a lot of my life too.
That's right.
So it's both. So like he kind of came with the boss mode a little bit. He's like, hey, don't be a fucking pussy. Like you got to keep going. I was like, fuck, okay. And so then like this whole trip is me in cities mainly. You know, I realized I hated beaches. Just people are just fucking hammered and there's nothing to do. You know what I mean? It's and I can't swim like that. Dude, on this trip, I literally almost drowned in a waterfall. And I have a video of it. I have a video of it because it was the second day and I was in Arkansas, dude. I was in Arkansas and there's a trail and it was raining. And I was like, man, if it wasn't raining, dude, I could go hike. And I was like, dude, you're such a bitch. Go hike. Why are you out here? And so I go hike this 2-mile trail, and I'm all fired up. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking man. Let's go, you know. And I get over this waterfall, and I was like, I'm gonna go stand underneath that fucking waterfall. And so I go and I set my phone up and I take a video, and I go up and I get kind of underneath it, and I come back, and I was like, dude, I didn't get far enough underneath that fucking thing. And like I could swim. I'm not a practiced swimmer, dude. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I go back and the thing hits me and I go boom and I fall into the fucking water. And I'm like, there's a video of me, I'm trying to like swim out, like clawing for my life. I'm like, no, I'm gonna fucking die. And then I got out, you know, but like so that was, I'll show you the video.
Yeah,
later.
please do.
It's so bad. And so, but yeah, so then I get all fired up. My dad convinces me. He's like, "Keep going, dude." You know.
This is how many days in? About 2 weeks in, did you say, or what?
Yeah, like 17 to 20.
Okay.
Somewhere in that realm, you know. And then I go to Shenandoah National Park, and so that was like my first like real big like nature experience. Like on the rest of this trip, I was really kind of just gym ratting in cities, which is sick, so fun. Like if you never like go to like different gyms like that in other towns, dude, such a blast. And like the first time I ever hit 225 was on this trip on bench, and I wasn't listening to headphones at that time, and I was in an abandoned Falstaff brewery in New Orleans, and they had like outdoor gym and shit, like all rusted weights, and I was listening to Britney Spears because it was on the radio when I hit 225 for the first time. But I go to Shenandoah, and I go on like this 4-mile hike. I meet all these fucking awesome people, like foreigners and stuff, and we're all talking. I was like, man, like my soul. It was like the first time like it was like on fire. I was like, wow, this is so sick. I love this. This is amazing. And then that day, and so like I was in this low in Fayetteville, right? And then I get up there, I'm like this. I'm like, bam, let's go, top of the world. And then I made my chicken that day, right? So I cooked all my meal prep, and so my meal prep kept going bad on that trip.
Yeah.
And then so I would always clean out with soap and then clean out and then make some new food. And then, you know, because I just never like packed ice well in my cooler. And then that time I just wiped it out. I didn't use soap. And I fucking cooked a whole thing of chicken. And I ate like the whole Tupperware of chicken while I was in Shenandoah. I was feeling good. I was eating good, you know. And then like I went and I go and I'm like right outside of Washington, D.C. And I go and pass out a Cracker Barrel, which that is why I have a Cracker Barrel hat on. Cracker Barrel, you can sleep in any Cracker Barrel parking lot in the country if you ever like are on the lam.
Okay.
You know, maybe sold some bad drugs or something, you know. But
Noted.
No, like it's such a great thing to know.
They encourage it or what?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It is, I just want people to eat breakfast there. You do it at Walmart's too, but Walmart's it depends on the city. You know.
Gotcha.
What I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, I've done hotels before, but I haven't done.
I've never like stayed at a hotel or like in the parking
slept
lot.
in the parking lot.
I've never done that before. It depends on like the vehicle you're running.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like I'm like in a covered van.
Okay,
so
Cracker Barrel and Walmart though.
yes,
we're
Cracker
good.
Barrel. Cracker Barrel's the shit. And then so I get in this Cracker Barrel parking lot, and it's kind of ghetto outside. I kind of realize I'm in the ghetto a lot. Now that I've said that, but I'm in this ghetto outside of Washington D.C. And I just like I wake up at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I just feel horrible and it's cold out. It's like 30 degrees. I'm like, so just really uncomfortable sleeping. Like it's 30 degrees and it's not that bad, but then like normally we're sleeping, it's like 65.
Yep.
So it's like I just wake up, my body hurts, and I'm like, and I just gotta I gotta go to the bathroom so bad, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? And I go and I'm going to all these gas stations and none of them are letting me in. Like they just have like a window, like a drive-up window, and then I finally find one and I go inside. And the lady lets me in. I was in the bathroom for like 45 minutes, and like the smoke alarm's beeping. I'm just like, oh crap, you know. And then I come out and like I'm dead. Like and she looked at me like I was doing heroin in the bathroom, you know, just like, what the fuck's wrong? What's this guy on? And then I go over to Cracker Barrel, pass out finally from exhaustion.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning go into their bushes and just hurl, and I was like, oh fuck, and so that's why I bought this hat. Because the next Cracker Barrel I went to, I felt bad, and I was like, fuck, I gotta buy a Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, because I puked in their bushes. It was such a bad trip, such a bad trip. And then my friend Sarah lived in Washington at the time, and she kind of saved me for a little bit. Like I had a place where like I knew someone.
Yeah.
So like I went there for like a day and got over my food poisoning, and then I just rushed through like Boston, New York, all that shit, drove through all of it just to get to Acadia, just because like I was like, I'm so done after because I was like on this low, high, boom, like get fucked again, dude.